Welcome to 3D Movie Cinema, the only show that is 3 dimensions away from Final Destination 2 being called Final Destination Death Never Ends. I'm your host 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Final Destination 2, released in 2003. Final Destination 2 is directed this time around by David R. Elias and is written by J. McKay Gruber and Eric Brass, from a story by J. McKay Gruber and Eric Brass and Jeffrey Reddick, the original creator of the first Final Destination movie. The movie stars Ali Lauder, A.J. Cook, and Michael Landis. Not that Michael Landis, of course, because that guy died like in the 80s. The movie is essentially about a girl named Kimberly, and it's a new group of people who go on this highway and end up, has a premonition of a pileup that happens. And then, of course, the pileup happens in her head, and everything. And then, of course, she stops it from happening, and only for her friends to be killed and not her. And then all the people that she saved, they start dying. But instead of dying in order, they were supposed to die on the bridge. They die backwards. Death goes backwards. Plot twist. He goes backwards. I really enjoy this movie. Here's the thing. I saw this one, I think, first. No, actually, that's a lie. I saw the first one first. I saw this one second, ironically. Yeah, I saw it second, but I was so young when I saw the first one. I saw this one second, but then I went back and rewatched the first one. And I just remember really enjoying this movie. We used to, I remember watching this, on my dad. My birth father had this DirecTV box, and we could watch movies for free. This was back in 2000, or 2003, so, yeah, before, it was by Methods, of course. And so basically I watched Final Destination 2 like freaking crazy. And I just remember loving that movie over and over, watching it. I remember there's 2 movies I loved watching around that time when it came out. Final Destination 2 and I was gonna say From Justin to Kelly, but no, it wasn't that. And I think that came out later, actually. No, it was the movie that I liked to watch was Final Destination 2 and Malibu's Most Wanted, starring Jamie Kennedy. I just really liked that movie as a kid. That was like the 2 movies I remember watching so much on the DirecTV box was Final Destination 2 and Malibu's Most Wanted. And yeah, that tells you everything you need to know about me. And so I watched those movies religiously. It's like, let's see how Brad Gluckman's doing today. I had enough of his buffoonery. Now let's go see how Death's doing over here. I was like, I remember watching this movie, and I remember I wasn't allowed to sneak and watch, it because at first it was gory. But then, my mom said, well, it's just gore. It's just people dying in accidents. You can watch it. And I just remember watching it as a kid, and you just seeing it. I want to say it traumatized me so much was the fire escape just going through the dude's eyes. I'm just like, oh, what? And I remember watching this on TV edit. Because later when it came to cable on USA Network, that's still actually a network. I forgot about that. USA Network. I remember it came on that. Monk's channel. Yeah, and so so it came out on that network. I remember I recorded on a VHS tape and just watched. I remember seeing when all the kills are edited. So I remember watching the scene where the fire escape and it just goes. You just see the camera pan go through the eye. It doesn't even show you the ladder going through the eyes. It just shows the camera just hitting the ground or something. It's almost going through the eyeball, the camera's going through the soul of the eye, and so it ends there. It doesn't show you, and so I just remember, seeing the kills were oh man, it's just edited for TV. Oh, and obviously there's no nudity in the movie and everything. And then, of course, some of the kills are still pretty gruesome, but, it's mostly tamed for the television edit. And I just remember then I got it on VHS and I watched it over, and then eventually DVD, and then of course Blu-ray, and now digital. I really enjoyed the movie, though. I really like the fact that it's Death going after them, but it's backwards, and everything. And I do think that idea of it going backwards is stupid, but I do like the fact that it's going after a new group of people and it's new ways that happen. And I like the idea of that, and I like that you have a survivor from the first movie that's there to help them that says, I went through this, me and my friends died. And I like how it connects to the first movie. Some parts of it that I like. I like when the girl, it's like you bring Claire into this, And I really like that aspect that she is like, I survived this, you know, my Alex survived this. And I like that she's trying to help them out and everything. And I like how the cop does research on the Flight 180, and you see like him just researching like all their accidents, like, oh, crushed by sign, you know, oh, you know, she was hit by a bus. And then of course Alex, you find out he was killed by a brick, which I still to this day think was the stupidest thing they ever did. I just wish really they couldn't have had like Devon Sawa for one scene just in an asylum and then never see him again. I think that would have been cool, but I understand that Devon Sawa should literally have been the character that instead of Claire. No offense, Ali Lauder, but like he would have made sense in this movie. But I guess they didn't want to kill him off on screen, so like let's kill him off screen. From what I read and the research I did, it seems like two things. The main reason was they just didn't want to bring him back because they felt like there's really nothing they could really do with him other than like, you know, because Claire, I guess, you know, and also he wasn't really, I mean, it says scheduling, but really, I think really what it was is they just didn't want to, they had nothing they wanted to do with him. Like, they're like, well, we can't really do nothing with this character. That's what it seems like. That's what, from what I read. It says scheduling, like the last thing it says scheduling, but really it seems like the studio just either didn't want to pay him or like they just really had no idea like what they could do. And they're like, well, what if Alex dies and she could make Claire? I mean, I guess that's really the only thing. I mean, I don't understand why. My guess is probably because Ali Lauder was more famous at the time because she had done Legally Blonde and a couple of other projects. So I guess they were just trying to cash in on her rather than like, well, Devon Sawa's only been like what? He's been in Final Destination, Idle Hands, and like that Dear Stan music video by Eminem. I mean, really, what do we? I was like, what? Really? I mean, we could just tell him scheduling, you know? I mean, you know, we get Ali Lauder. I mean, I like Ali Lauder in the movie a lot. I don't think, I understand that there would have been nothing for her to do if you would have brought Devon Sawa in. But I mean, at the same time, you don't necessarily need both of them in the movie. I'm just saying. You know, I mean, you could have put her in the third movie. I mean, that's the one thing I just hate, how they just kill him off, but oh, a brick falls on him. And I'm like, you would think that he would be more aware. Like, I would think he would be the one in an asylum because he's like, I'm not going to be killed by death. You know? And instead, it's like, he died from a falling brick. And I'm like, first off, how tall was he on the frick? It says he was over his house, and then the brick fell and crushed him. And I'm like, how would that make any sense logically? Like, literally, he's like, oh no. And if a brick falls on you, unless it's like a center block, it's not going to kill you. I mean, it's going to hurt like hell, and you're probably going to have to go to the hospital and get stitches. But like, I mean, it's not going to kill you. I mean, I just thought that's kind of ridiculous. But then again, this is a movie where death literally closes the window so you can't get out. You know, yeah, like the fire scene was the one I remember the most because it's like I wanted to live like Evan Lewis. I literally wanted to be, I thought he was cool. When I was a kid, I watched that, I'm like, that dude that won the lottery is cool. I wanted to be him as a kid. I was like, I want to literally like win the lottery, and I want to literally get my nipple pierced, and I want to literally be like, have a leather jacket and drive a shitty car. You know, like that. No, it's not a shitty car, but like, I'm like, it just looks like, you know, it's like an older car, and it's like, I don't like that car. I'm like, you know, and I'm like, this just looks like shitty from the way it looks on camera, you know, but it's actually a nicer car, I'm sure, in real life. But he was like, I just want to like drive that car, and then I want to buy Apple products, and then of course I want to just I'm a house to burn down, escape, such a badass way. You know, I was like literally wanted that as a kid. By the way, I was a child, but you know, when I saw this movie, so I was like literally thinking that's so cool. Then you watch as an adult, you're like, this guy's fucking lame as hell. I mean, he's not as lame as the cokehead, but like he's lame. And I just remember watching when he dies, and I'm like, well, yeah, he's kind of an idiot. So I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, yeah, I was like, but yeah, I actually just, yeah, but yeah, I did not get my nipples pierced. Just spoiler, just to point that out, because I was a child again when I saw that. But I just want to point that out so people are wondering, did I go through with that lifestyle? No. But imagine if somebody watched that growing watching the cokehead thinking that dude's cool. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people did, and I'm sure a lot of people made that mistake. Oh, I didn't, thank God. I thought that dude was lame. But you know, I will say though, I really like the idea, like the sheriff. There's a scene when you see the pile up and everything, and I like how the sheriff, how like when she like pulls everybody over, like how she stops and the cop tries to save her, and then a cop saves her at the last moment. It kills her friends. I thought that was cool, and I really look, you know. And also, there's a running gag on the podcast that I co-host with Ryan Cam and Matt Wyatt on Small Talk. You know, check it out if you haven't. It's where we watch all the Smallville episodes, and basically we talk about it. We were discussing like how most of the cast of Final Destination movies are in the first several seasons of Smallville, because both the show and the movie was shot in Canada. And we were just like, that girl is in Smallville. That guy's in Smallville. That guy's in Smallville. That guy's in Smallville. That guy's in Smallville. That girl's in Smallville. And we were just like, yeah, because it's shot in fucking Canada. Like every Final Destination movie, with the exception of Final Destination 4, was all shot in Canada. So that's why. But yeah, I just remember, but I really like the deaths in the movie and everything. And like the one death I think that my aunt used to tell me about she loved the most was the fence scene where the cokehead, where it blows up and the fence goes right through the guy and he falls apart. And I remember like the movie is very comedic too. Like there's a lot of jokey stuff vibe in the movie. Like it's not as comedic as 4, but like it's very jokey where like especially the end, the death at the end where like the dude from Shameless and the guy was the guy that was Donatello, or no, Michelangelo, whatever, in the Ninja Turtles Michael Bay film. He literally, when he blows up at the end and the arm blows on the tail, I remember my father loved that scene so much. That was hilarious. And I mean, a lot of people do. A lot of people watch it and laugh their ass off at that scene because it's meant to play for laughs at the end. You know, it's not meant to be a serious moment. And I mean, the movie does have some stuff that I have issues with. Like the one is like, oh, she drives off into a river. Only new life can defeat death. Okay, but you're not a new life. You're literally the same person. By you dying and coming back, that's not really a new life, okay? Like, if I'm sure, if somebody, for instance, if you get the death penalty, and then they put you under, but then you come back, that's not like, oh, like, that's not, you still are gonna have to do your sentence, you know, like, just because you died, it's until you permanently die. So it's like, that's not new life, okay? A toddler is new life. A adult woman who's been alive for 27 years is not considered new life. That is considered literally, you lived for 27 years. That's not new life. Just because you die for 2 minutes doesn't mean you technically are new life. And also, death, if you're next on death's list, then wouldn't you die? That's literally death is letting him revive you. He should literally, and also, he should stop the windows from him busting the windows. He should literally like make the thing sink further. I mean, just there's things I'm like, because literally, and also I have issues where death is like, you know, I like when it's not, I guess, supernatural. I don't like when it's supernatural. And I understand we wonder why not talking about the TV show Supernatural. I'm talking about when it's not supernatural-ish, like where death is like when it's just natural accidents happening to people. Like when it's just like, you know, oh, this thing happened where, oh, the elevator crushes a woman's head. That's natural. Or like birds knocking, like, you know, a person, you know, getting distracted in birds and then the glass falling on the child and killing him. You know, that's natural. Compared to, oh, the guy's in the room and all of a sudden all the thing closes, death locks the door and all that stuff. And I'm like, that would never happen. Or like the thing where, like, you know, all the windows shut when the guy's trying to escape a fire. That would never happen. Like, I'm just saying, there's stuff like that would just, I feel like there's some stuff that I feel like that's almost supernatural where it would never happen. And that's where I have issues. Like, for instance, I'm like, okay, since you're trying to, like, you know, stop them from living, then all of a sudden, like, they just, like, he's able to save her, and then just, oh, everything's normal now. I'm like, that, I call bullshit on that, you know? And, like, especially when they just kill off the survivor, Claire, at the end, I'm like, I just feel like, I was like, it just made no sense to me. I'm like, also, would that have happened if the other two people come? I mean, you know, stuff like that. And also, you know, and then just like, you know, and, you know, the fire thing, I will say, there's some cool deaths. Like, the cool deaths, like, I think, you know, it is horrific seeing the mom's head, you know, and everything, and the guys are trying to commit suicide. And, you know, and that to me, I thought that was a good moment. But then I also really like scenes like, you know, where, like, you know, obviously when the fire extinguisher thing goes there, and I like seeing Tony Todd back as Bloodworth. I thought that was really cool, you know, and everything. I do think that it's kind of condescending because they try to make him seem like, oh, what I told you last movie was bullshit because new movie, new rules, you know, kind of thing. I hated that. But I like that he was in the movie. And I also like that, you know, you feel like this cop likes this girl and she likes him back and everything. It's like a will they, won't they. I like that aspect of it. I just feel like some parts when it becomes like, oh, this would never happen, I hate that. Or, you know, when it becomes more like, oh, it's just like, you know, like they start trying to change their own rules in the sequel. That's when I hate it too. When you're trying to reestablish your own you know, continuity, that's what I hate. And just stuff like that is what I hate. But I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I do think the first one's still better from my perspective of viewing, but I really enjoyed this movie. If I had to give this movie a grade, I'm going to give it a B+. Thank you so much.
Sharpton for president, y'all. I'm outie.
Jesse Jackson for VP.